we're going to take this project with a very similar order that we did our treasure map project. So if you remember with the treasure maps, we took just a white piece of paper and we started off with just some ideas, just a sketch, nothing super detailed or crazy, but just to get our ideas down on a piece of paper. And then we redrew that on our final piece of paper, whether that for you was a brown piece of paper or a paper bag or just another white piece of paper. We redrew it to look a little bit nicer. And then we traced over all of our pencil lines with something black. So a crayon, a colored pencil, a marker, a Sharpie, whatever you used for that. And then we colored it in. So we're going to be doing a very similar process for this. So today is going to be kind of our sketch day, just like we did with the maps. So today we will need a piece of paper and a pencil, and we are just going to be getting our ideas about what we want our sunflower project to look like. So this won't be our final version. So Ella, to answer your question, we will not be watercolor painting today because we need to get all of those other steps done first before we can do that. That's going to be our last step since it's the background of our project. So good question. So everyone needs to have a piece of paper and a pencil, and just like we started our maps, we are going to be sketching today. All right, so we have all of our days. The last day was white, so I'm starting over with the rainbow again with red. So it says day 9, which is the 9th day of the rotation, and then today is October 20th. So if I click on that, the Zoom meeting video that I'm taking right now after class is going to go in here if you need to review anything. All the directions say today is, today we're going to review a couple things about our sunflower project. We'll be working together in class to start a sketch, remember just a sketch, of what we want our final project to look like. And then I did write on here, after class, please upload your sunflower sketch to the Miss Hout Turn-In folder. Okay, and then the Zoom meeting will be here. So before we do our final copy of our sunflowers, I do want to kind of check them first. So after class today, no matter how far you got, even if you just drew like a circle for your sunflower and that's all you got today, I still want to see that you were working with us during class. So there is going to be a Miss Hout Turn-In folder today. So it goes in here. I just want your sunflower sketches from today in here. Right, we talked about Vincent van Gogh, who was a Dutch painter born in 1853, so a super long time ago. He's not alive anymore, but he's still super famous.
That's the Starry Night right there.
Absolutely. This is a Starry Night here, and then this is a self-portrait that he painted of himself. But we are going to use his famous sunflower paintings for our inspiration for our sunflowers. Now, if you remember from yesterday, I mentioned that you are more than welcome to make your sunflowers in a vase. Just the biggest thing I want you to do if you're doing something like that is make the sunflowers the focal point. So even though the sunflowers it was brought up yesterday that, they're still pretty big and your eyes do go to the sunflowers for the most part in this picture, I want to challenge us as second graders to make the focal point even bigger. So I would even make these sunflowers even bigger. So instead of looking at the vase first, you're definitely looking at the sunflowers first. Okay, so you want to make the sunflowers the focal point. Now, you don't have to do a vase. They could be outside. You could do grass. You could do a ground. You can add other things. A couple more things that we do need to consider, though, is overlapping. So that means one sunflower or the petals or the stem or the leaves or even clouds in the background, whatever you choose, something on your project needs to be overlapped. And as we're working today, I will show you that on my sketch. Okay, and then we're also talking about realism. So we want these to look like sunflowers. So we want to do the petals the same shape that we're seeing in these photographs. We want to make it as realistic as possible with both our drawing and our coloring. All right. So again, here are some examples from yesterday that I showed you, and these are actually my second graders from last year. So you can see the overlapping of petals, overlapping of stems, of flowers. Again, the background is watercolor. That's going to be our last step, so I don't want us to focus on that too much right now. And again, let's just quickly scroll through these, looking at different things that are being overlapped. You can add other things too, like birds or a sun. Let's see, they've got a butterfly, a bee, clouds, a sun again. This person actually did theirs outside with a flower pot, so that's an option too. So that's kind of cool. A ground, a hill. So you can see that we've added other things in here, birds, These ones are the ones I wanted to show you that are the vases, but the biggest part of the project and the focal point is still these sunflowers, all right? So second graders, you could have your paper going up and down like this, or you could have your paper going side to side like this. It doesn't matter to me which one. You could make a bunch of sunflowers coming up this way, and then you could do it this way too. Personally, I like to make my sunflowers nice and tall, so I'm going to do it this way. And again, as I'm talking today, you should also be working because you do need to turn in a picture of your sketch at the end of class. So I'm trying to think of how I want mine to look. I think I'm going to do a little hill and then another hill. So this actually right here is overlapping because if you think about it, let me zoom in a little bit. This hill is now going behind this hill. So if we pretend we can see it, this hill would actually go all the way down to the bottom like that. But because it's being overlapped by the first hill, we don't see that line. So already I'm showing some overlapping. Now you could do this or you don't have to, it's up to you. All right, I'm going to draw a stem and I'm going to make it a thick stem going this way and a circle. And the way I like to think about the petals, second grade, is kind of like the shape of an eye or the shape of a football. So the sunflower petals, they have like a little point at the end of them. So let me zoom in and show you what I do. I normally start at the circle that I just made for the center, and I do like a little curved line coming out like that. And then I come to this point at the very end and I go backwards and go with a curved line back just like that. That's how I make my petals. Now you could make them a little bit more, so I'll do another one up here, a little bit more rounded like this. But in my opinion, I think that sunflower petals have a little bit of a point at the end. So I would try your very best to try to shape it like an eyeball or like a football is how I like to think of it. And I'm going to go all the way around. And then I'm going to show you how to overlap flowers and I'm going to show you how to overlap petals. So I have to get these done first. I'm just rotating it around. And you'll notice that all of my petals don't look the same and that's totally fine. In nature, nothing is perfect and they don't all look the same ever. So I'm gonna make them different sizes like that. And actually, I just overlapped my stem. So I'm gonna erase my stem from underneath. All right, so I'm going to make a second flower here. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. I'm going to make a second flower here, and if you need to know how to overlap a flower, I would ask you to stop drawing and watch. But if you feel confident that you know how to overlap a flower, then you can just keep working. Okay, so I'm gonna make my stem coming up again. And I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller of a circle. All right, now I have to think about if this flower right here is behind this flower, then there are certain parts of the petal that you will not see if it's being overlapped by this one in front. So if I take my petal, and I can even draw it really lightly, like that, and then you'll notice that this petal is going to be in front. So I might then take my pencil and erase the part that overlaps with that flower. And now you can see that my petal is going behind, okay? Again, if I start at the top here and I come up and I'm coming back down, I want to skip that part. So I don't want to draw right here because then that's not being overlapped. So I would want to erase that and make sure that it's going behind this petal here. All right, I'm gonna keep doing that process so you can watch. I'm going out. Now this one's kind of tricky because it gets overlapped a lot. So I'm thinking about it and my petal would probably go here, maybe to here and back. So I'm gonna go there, skip over this part, draw here, skip over this part and go back, which is kind of a funky shape of a petal, but I'm trying my best. Coming back out. All right, so you can see that now these petals look like they're in front of these petals. Like this, that's kind of like an E. That's kind of like a W. That's kind of like a 3. and that's kind of like an M. So I just kind of go around like that. I don't really have a strategy, but if you want to overlap the clouds, here's one, and then the other one would just stem off of it like this. Okay, so you can see I have overlapped in multiple places on my project. I've done the hills, I've done the petals, I've done the clouds, and I actually did a petal behind the cloud. So I've done different types of overlapping. You can also add petals to your drawing. You might add some petals here. And I would say second grade, 2 would probably be the minimum amount of sunflowers, which means I don't want you to just have one. I want you to have at least 2 sunflowers, if not more. Most people last year did like 3 or 4, but some people did up to like 6. So you can decide how many, but I don't want you to just do one. I want you to practice the overlapping. So I do want you to have at least 2 sunflowers. So here are my petals here. To go behind, what I like to do is just start kind of in the middle of the petal. So I have the middle of my petal here, the middle of my petal here. So I start at the middle on this side, and I go up, and then again, I come back, and I try to hit kind of the middle of my petal there. And you can keep doing that. Middle of the petal here, up, middle of the petal there, middle of the petal here, up, middle of the petal there. So you can keep going, and it's just like stacking them, middle up, middle down, middle up, middle down. They can be big, they can be small. All right, so there's mine, ta-da! So I just took a picture of my project. I'm now on Schoology. I'm going to go down to your Schoology course. I'm going to click on Especiales or Specials. I'm going to click on Art, which is a red folder. And then the rainbow order is starting over. So we're on red again, day 9, October 20th. Miss Hout turn-in folder. I'm going to click Add Media, Attach Files, Photo Library, because I already took a picture. I normally go to Recent, so it's right at the bottom. I can open this up, click Done. And then it's adding here. I click Add Media. And it looks like someone else uploaded theirs as well. And now mine is right here, and it says it's added by me.